The Cheating Death Podcast is a comedy podcast that contains information, subject matter, language, and coarse material that may not be suitable for all listeners. Your discretion in this matter is advised. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, we briefly discuss PlayStation 1 versus PS2, which we feel is better and or more optimal. We also provide you with a top 5 list, an all-new Annihilation Announcement, and more. So grab your favorite PlayStation console controller, turn on your analog television, and enjoy the episode. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. Back in the 90s, when people were debating whether or not it was PS1 versus N64 versus Dreamcast, there were a lot of battles that were to have been waged, and immediately upon the introduction of the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox and the GameCube, that battle continued to evolve into cycles. Meanwhile, people were arguing over the wrong things. They should not have been arguing over the aspect of which console was better. No, they should have been arguing for the return of the cartridge game, for it is after the N64 that they focus on discs was all too prominent. Understand this, ladies and gentlemen, the return of the cartridge is imminent. We must go back to the time with tank controls and beautiful bright 3D textures that only Rareware could deliver. Who is with us? We shall fight. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this has been your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tage, eine gute Nacht ist dein Reisender, deine Ausländer, deine Cleric of Chaos. Here to come at you with a short sequence, straight to the point episode of PS1 versus PS2. Which console is better? What are some examples of both and why? To be succinct and direct, and to feel entirely logical with this statement, PlayStation 2 is of course the better console. It is the evolved version of the PlayStation 1. The specifics with regards to technical specifications are obviously superior. The controls, as well as the functionality of the controller itself, clearly are superior to that of the PS1. But what are we looking at when we look at PS1 versus PS2? We're looking at memories, what made us feel in certain ways. For example, one would argue that Crash Bandicoot 2 for the PlayStation 1 is a much better game than one would argue that Flatout would be. One would argue that on the opposing side of the spectrum, that Grand Theft Auto Vice City is clearly a better game than what Grand Theft Auto 2 was. There are many other examples that we could go into, but the memories of what brings us back to the ever so nostalgic startup sound for the PlayStation 1, the startup sound for the PlayStation 2, the hope in your heart that you would have that it would not freeze and stay on that screen where the music just seems to fade forever and tell you, please insert disc when there's clearly a disc in the machine. No, the PS1 is remembered more so specifically for janky controls. Excellent classic texture titles like Medieval, Kane, Soul Reaver, Tomb Raider, and much more. Whereas you look at the PlayStation 2, it was clear that Sony was here to stay in the video game development world. When you take into account classic PS2 titles like Shadow of the Colossus, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, any one of the Madden or NFL titles, if you are a fanatic of the sports variety, there are dozens of examples in which PS2 is quite clearly superior to PS1. But you look at PS1 and you see for yourself that the janky tank controls of a game like a Silent Hill or like a Resident Evil, when it feels like you are doing absolutely nothing but standing there and awaiting the imminent zombie to come and bonk you on the head, similar to the Monty Python Holy Grail scene from 1975, where Lancelot is running at the guards for what seems like forever, and then he just all of a sudden appears like a jump scare, going, "There, I am taking your apple now, sir." So take into consideration the beauty of memory when PlayStation 1 versus PlayStation 2 is discussed. PlayStation 2 is indeed the better console, has many outstanding titles that have stood the test of time. Your Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, your Shadows of the Colossus, one would argue even Need for Speeds 1 and 2 stand the test of time. And we would agree. But also take into account the memories that you have, the holding in your heart that you harbor for these titles. Remember this as you and the next generation of your children and your friends' children are embarking on their own video game endeavors. Your family evolving just how you did so as a child. Video games are outstanding. PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 are both tremendous consoles. But we both know, dear listener, that PS2 is the victor. What is your thoughts on PlayStation 1 versus PlayStation 2? By all means, email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. As promised at the top of the episode, our top 5 PS1 games. Coming in at number 5, we have Crash Bandicoot 1, one of the greatest ones of the series. Coming in at number 4, Crash Bandicoot 2, yet another excellent item. Coming in at number 3, we have Kane Soul Reaver. Coming in at number 2, we have much highly sought after Tomb Raider, and coming in at number 1, we have Silent Hill. What is your top 5 of PS1 games? Email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. Back in the 90s, those who played N64 will remember they had to turn the channel from 2 to 3 with some analog converters. It turns out that those channels were not the right PlayStation. Whether you liked PS1 or PS2 games better, and at the end of the day, they were still ahead of their time, outstanding consoles, and delivered entertainment that were second to none. Competing with the likes of Nintendo and Sega, it is an absolutely outstanding result to where we are now with Xbox versus Nintendo versus PlayStation versus all the other emulated consoles out there. There is a lot to be sought after, and truly there will more than likely be more than one episode about PS1, PS2, and or 90s, early 2000s related video games. But take heed. If you remember what it was like to play video games with tank controls on PS1 and PS2, it is more than likely that some of your dreams came true. Take care of yourself and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast has been brought to you by Nacht and Leben, CRDVC, Chaos Realm Records, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, and our hosting platform is Spreaker, where for just $3.99 a month you can join our supporters club and make a one-time donation at buymeacoffee.com/clericofchaos to support the program. If you are looking to book a business meeting for your upcoming artistic or business endeavor, you may do so at linktr.ee/clericofchaos, where merch, media, cameo can also be found. Please follow the program at twitter.com/weallcheatdeath and the host at twitter.com/clericofchaos. And follow all of our lovely associates, producers, personnel, and friends of the program at the links in the description. If you or anyone you know is experiencing psychiatric duress or needs immediate assistance, please call 988 from your mobile phone in the United States or Canada, or dial 1-800-273-8255. If anyone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please have them call 1-800-799-7233. And if you're looking at adopting a playful puppy or a cute kitten, please have them visit your local animal adoption and rescue center. And if you or anyone you know are in danger of being alone for the holiday season, just remember that there are resources within your local municipality that may be able to assist you. Take care of yourself And remember, we're pulling for you. We're all in this together.